Hi you guys, Shelly here. So I'm struggling with this video. This is the Tom Ford Soleil Eye Cheek palette, and it's in the shade 04, the combination 04, which is Violet Argente, I think. Looks a little bit like this. It does have 4 eyeshadow shades, a highlighter, and a blush, and I gotta be honest, I filmed a video the other day where I did 4 looks with one palette, and I didn't know what to expect. I'm not a makeup artist, and I am a lady of a certain age. I got through an initial video. I'm gonna scrap it, I'm not even gonna post it. And at the end of the video, I realized that sometimes with the higher end stuff, less is more. So over the weekend, I played with a couple different options with it. This time I'm giving you 3 looks with this one palette. I hope it addresses some of the thoughts that people have had with the Tom Ford eyeshadows and the concept of why on earth would you spend that much money when the reviews are less than stellar. So without further ado, let's get into the video. And I gotta be honest, I had no experience with Tom Ford at all. And I cheated a little bit because I thought, oh, well, this has a blush and a highlighter, so that actually kind of gives me a couple extra colors to play with. Because all the eyeshadow palettes that I found were really, really expensive, and there was like 4 shades on them, and they all seemed like shimmers. And ladies of a certain age, you know, it's hard to go with a lot of shimmer because you maybe can pick up texture. And I was doing my normal blending and multiple colors and everything else. And then by the end of the video, I realized that the higher end stuff, I think you are less creative sometimes. Because when I think of people that have a lot of money that can afford to buy some of the Tom Ford stuff, they're usually pretty simple. Like, they don't go over the board. It's understated elegance. It's classy. It's a little bit more subtle. Over the last couple days, I've played with this palette a little bit more. My initial reaction with this, my first impression, was not super favorable. Even though they look like shimmers in here, this one, when you apply it, it really looks like a matte. This one was darn near impossible to either pick up with a finger or a brush, or you could pick it up with a firmer brush, but then it wasn't leaving the brush. I just really struggled with it. I decided over the last couple days just to play with the colors individually one by one, and I think I found something that'll actually be a little bit more useful, I think. So the first one I'm going to go in with is this kind of berry color. I mean, it's a rose color, but I actually really like the color, and I still have that creasiness from the MAC Painterly pot. But I'm just going to show you that if you do one color with it, then, and you can kind of buff it out a little bit, it's not too bad. So I'm going to speed you up here while I get this on my eyes. The one thing that I would say about doing a 1-over is to take either your bronzer, your blush, your something else, and kind of soften up that look a little bit as you blend it. I'm gonna actually use the blush that's in this palette, which is not the blush I used today on my cheeks, but, and just a little tiny bit, and I'm just gonna use it to kind of soften that top edge. Kind of diffuses it just ever so slightly, and I think the matte that's in the blush actually helps, takes a little bit of the shininess off the shimmer. I'm gonna go ahead and put some eyeliner and some mascara on, and I'll be right back. I kind of get in a little bit of a rut with these, but I like them so much. This is the Ulta, it's kind of an eyeshadow eyeliner stick. It's a little chubby plum color. So anyway, I think it actually, because it's a softer color and just a little bit of mascara, opens up the eyes a little bit. I did put on a little bit of gloss. I probably could go a little bit darker with the blush, frankly, but I'm going to take all this off here in a second anyway. My initial frustration with this palette was trying to get it to perform like other palettes, trying to get that beautiful blend and all those gradient colors, and it wasn't working. Once I got over myself and thought, you know what, this might be a 1-shade palette. And actually, so I'm going to tell you this too. This brighter color in here, while it looks like it should be a shimmer in here, it goes on very matte. So using it to kind of brighten that inner corner, totally fine without being too stark and sparkly and effervescent. I didn't do any kind of faux crease situation. I didn't really do anything that's, you know, darker on the outside like I normally do. I just kept it very simple with just one shade. I'm gonna do the same thing with another shade. I'll be right back. All right, you guys, I don't know if you noticed all that much. When I first started putting this shadow on, it went on super sheer, and it was a little bit hard to get it to build up. Do I think the end result is okay to leave the house in? Sure. Like, I think it's okay, but I gotta be honest, when I first used this shade with my 4 looks that I initially tried with this palette, I just couldn't get it to build up. And I think putting it on top of other shadows just didn't really work for me. Kind of did get a little patchy, but then I just sort of went back over it and kept trying to build it up. And when I look at it in a mirror, I did get a little transfer down here. Like, I could probably clean it up a little bit. But when I actually look at it in the mirror, the sparkle is pretty. It's a little messy, I gotta be honest. It's like it's not as precise. I did have to use a little bit of a firmer brush than I probably would have initially. And I think the color itself, once I build it up a little bit, is fine. I mean, it's a smokier color. I kind of want to see, I'm probably going to mess it up right now, but I'm going to go in with a little bit of the highlighter. I wonder what happens if I put it like right on my lid. You guys know that sometimes, oh, see, it's already fallen apart. Sometimes I like to go over the top of something that's patchy with a glitter or something, some sort of shimmer. And see, that doesn't look very good at all. That just kind of grayed it up a little bit, and I don't think it helped the situation. So maybe that's not a good idea. I'm not feeling that shade at all. I mean, I think it's okay, but I just think it takes some work. So I'm gonna take this off. Third look with this Tom Ford Soleil Cheek and Eye palette, and as I said earlier, my first initial on this was pretty frustrated. I don't know why this is so expensive. Like, what's the point of spending this much money for a palette? And this isn't a new palette. I mean, I think this was released several years ago. And when I started, sorry, I was just playing with the blush a little bit more. I always feel like I need a little bit more blush. If you're going to spend that kind of money, you should be able to just like miraculously have it perform and be beautiful. Once I got out of my head a little bit, looked at it a different way, looked at it as this isn't a palette that's all maybe all supposed to go together. Maybe just the individual shadows one by one. And I think they hold their own. I think as long as I don't try to layer them, and then they get muddy and you get frustrated. But I think as long as I do a one shade, and this time I did go a little bit more. I mean, I did buff in the blush a little bit into just right above my crease to kind of soften that. And then I did go in with a lightest shade just under my brow bone, just to give my eyes kind of a little bit of lift. This shadow could work really well for work. Not with this eyeliner, but the shadow itself, it's a muted brown. Perfectly fine. It does go on sheer. You can build it up a little bit like I did today. And then I just went in with a Laura Geller. This is one of those dual-ended eyeliners. One side is kind of like a teal color, and the other side is like a black felt tip liner like I used on the last look. And it's fine. It's, you know what, for a palette where you're just in a rush and you need to do one shade on your lid, you've got a blush, you've got a highlighter, you know, you've got a little bit of a highlight brightener type thing. You're not spending a whole lot of time on your makeup with this palette, which some people like to spend a lot of time on their makeup. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to be creative. I just want to put on something and be out the door. That doesn't give you a lot of options. For the money, I don't know that it's worth it. I do like the case though. The case is really pretty. It's one that I kind of want to, once I get through the shades, if I ever do, I kind of want to use this as like a jewelry box or travel jewelry box or something. I think would be kind of fun. Anyway, you guys, if you're frustrated with the Tom Ford shadows and you're trying to get multiple looks out of a single palette, I say don't overthink it. Go simple. I think less is more with this particular formula. In my opinion, as a layperson, I'm not a makeup artist, and I don't think I've struggled with a palette that was this expensive this much ever in my life. But I don't buy a lot of high-end palettes either. Take that for what it's worth. I do feel like, you know, the colors ended up being something that I could wear out of the house, which is kind of the goal. I don't know if this palette being older, they fixed the issues and they changed the shadows and they changed the formula, and now newer ones are easier to work with. You guys are gonna have to let me know. What do you guys think with the Tom Ford shadows, if you have any of them? Does doing one color and that's it, does that help you be less frustrated with it? Or did they change the formula and actually they're all great now and you can get creative and they blend out and they're just really expensive? So I'd love your input on it. I'd love your thoughts on it. Leave me a comment down below what your experience is with the Tom Ford shadows. Did the shimmers look okay with your texture? For me, I feel like because the shimmer doesn't seem to be adhered too much to the actual pigment, I think it actually is okay. And I did use the MAC Painterly Pot on all three looks today. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna get this up probably for Monday. I do have Wednesday's film already edited and already scheduled to go up, and the lighting on it is crap, and I'm sorry for that. It's just I had a technical difficulty and I didn't realize it was going to be as bad as it was until I had actually got into editing it. So when you do watch it, you're going to see a lot of color, the yellow kind of come in and out, and I apologize for that. I hope you can look past that. I'm not a professional YouTuber. I don't get paid. I don't get anything in PR. I don't get, you know, any endorsements or anything like that. Nobody's sending me anything for free. Nobody's paying me. I don't even have commercials when the time this video goes up. So I hope this is just interesting for the sake of being mature, non-makeup artist. Is our money worth it on this? I think with this palette, if you can get it on a really good discount, I think this could be an easy desk drawer palette as long as you're not expecting too much. Like, you get to work late, which hopefully you're gonna be going back to work soon. You get to work late and you need to throw something quickly on. I think this gives you 75% of what you would need to get through your day and not have people come up to you and say, are you feeling okay? Like sometimes happens when you don't wear any makeup at all. All right, you guys, that's all for now. I hope you guys are doing okay. Some of the states are opening back up again, but they're doing it in phases. So we've got this kind of like turn of a dial and not flip of a switch situation going on. I read something that said that we're not all in the same boat, but we are all in the same storm. And that really resonated with me. I've lately spent a lot of time thinking about other people's experience in this. I mean, I have my reality. I have what's going on for me. I would love to hear how your state is doing, how your community is doing. Maybe this has been more of an inconvenience than devastating. More than anything, I hope that this whole coronavirus thing is not devastating for you and that you don't feel like you're at the end of your rope. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. Anyway, you guys, sorry that's kind of a somber note, but I'm gonna take off and go do a couple other things today because I'm still struggling to be productive and all this. Till my next video. Bye for now.